Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to Valorant News. An absolutely wild day in the Valorant world. The VCT LockIn tournament has concluded. Fnatic win it in unbelievable fashion that we shall dive into over the coming minutes here. But so many other storylines as well. Gekko revealed as a new agent, but rostermania brewing also Cloud9. Their replacements for Ye have now been revealed. Marved is not among them anymore because they don't want to pay what he is asking. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. Plenty to dive into. First of all, let's discuss Gekko. Brand new agent, of course, added to the game yesterday. We saw him in action in the show match. It's an interesting agent, right? Basically, he's got a load of Pokemon characters that he can call in to do various activities. The one that people are most talking about, of course, is Wingman, and most of the players seem to believe this is a very powerful character. Now, there are ways to counter it, ways around it, and some other possibilities in play, especially with Wingman that can defuse the bomb and plant the bomb and all this type of stuff. It's pretty incredible, to be honest, that they even came up with this idea, and it's exactly what we theorized a few days ago. Pretty much all of these abilities are what the rumors said they would be. Now, the mosh pit, honestly, these are very strong. Look how big this is. You can throw this like a Molotov, and it's got this massive area of effect that does a lot of damage once it explodes. So, that's a pretty big deal, this mosh pit, honestly. I thought that was very strong. Now, I know that your boy Dre, formerly, I think, of LG, he was, of course, like a tier 2 player a year or so ago. He retired from competing to go and play or go and work for Riot and work in their kind of development team. And he said that actually people are overreacting here and Gekko isn't as strong as people think, but it looks pretty strong. This is the ultimate, right? So we've got the Thrash, which again, it looks like the Junkrat thing from, we mentioned a few days ago from Junkrat from Overwatch, which is basically what this is, that goes towards you and then explodes and then puts you in a pretty difficult spot. So, it's an interesting idea. And also, when it expires, she turns into a glob that can then be picked up again. So, the game visually is visually it looks great, but visually the game is going to increasingly get more and more cluttered and difficult to figure out what is happening. Certainly that was the case, I thought, on Lotus in the show match when there was just so much stuff going on. Now there's also Dizzy, so you've got the Molly, you've got the ultimate, and then you've got Dizzy, which is effectively a blind. It's effectively like a flashbang, right? So and then if it expires you can pick it up again, which takes a bit of time. So I don't know, it's an interesting agent, right? I kind of like it actually, but I do think it has the potential to be very strong, and for teams to have to really consider how they counter this and whether they bring Astra into their meta or something to try and counter some of the abilities of Gekko might be a challenge. And this then is the key one, right? So Wingman can go forward to look for enemies. When an enemy is found, he fires a concussive blast in a triangular shape to the first enemy seen. But also, he can, if you're looking at the spike or a planted spike to plant or defuse, Wingman can be destroyed by other players, but he can actually do it. So it's quite easy to kill him when he's planting the spike. I know people say, oh, he's so cute, you can't get him off the spike or whatever, but I guess that was part of the plan. But, and then he turns into a glob. So I'll just put this big screen here. But Wingman, you can just send him off here to go and plant the bomb, and he actually does it. So, you can do the same thing for defusing it. So, I mean, it's a very interesting concept. I don't know if it's, it should be a particularly good, I don't know if this should be a thing, to be perfectly honest. But nonetheless, it is a thing, and it's going to be strong. Let's say you're in a 1 versus 1 situation, you're trying to defuse the bomb, and you can just get Wingman to defuse it for you while you play for the kill. That's a very big advantage in a 1 versus 1. Now, of course, if you know you're playing against Gekko in a 1v1, then you maybe know what to expect there, that he's, that Gekko's going to be on it and find a way to kill him off the bomb and all this type of stuff. But, it definitely adds a new element to the game. I'm not sure I like it personally, but still, that's what Riot are deciding to do. The other big announcement that Riot confirmed yesterday was that Champions 2023 will be in Los Angeles, California. I believe we heard rumors a while ago that indeed, Champions was going to be in America. Of course, Masters is in Tokyo. We'll discuss that in a few minutes' time. But the early rounds from August the 6th to the 26th are going to be at the Shrine Auditorium in LA, and then the final rounds at the Kia Forum. So if you guys are local or just in the US in general, that is the place to be for Champions. I think this was kind of expected actually, but now it's been officially confirmed. Let's talk lock-in though before we discuss the, honestly, this is absolutely insane last night, before we discuss the rostermania to follow. So the lock-in trophy looked like this, and Fnatic versus Loud, what a series it was. So game 1, game 2 went relatively quickly to Fnatic, it was close maps, but Fnatic won them, and Fnatic were on the verge of, of winning a tournament without losing a single map in the tournament, right? They were 1 map away from absolutely whitewashing the entire tournament, but still, Loud come back, they win game 3, they win game 4, and it was a crazy set of matches, but Loud, the crowd was getting behind them. Of course, we know how the crowd is in Brazil. If Loud hadn't been in the finals here, the crowd would have been dead. There's absolutely no doubt about it. We know what happened at the the Rio Major, right? But, thankfully there was a Brazilian team in the grand finals, so the crowd was absolutely mega, and I think they intend to come back to Brazil again, and I know there's been some questions about whether they should do that or not, but, still, it went all the way to the final map. Now, Fnatic went down 13-11. They got bodied on their defensive side. It was, Loud had such a good offense here, but Fnatic are incredibly good at Icebox, and we know they are, and they know they are, and I know that Boaster was probably feeling kind of out of it at times, but Durka, I think, really lit the fire here in this 1v1. I think it was a 1v2, actually, and, winning this 1v1 here against Aspas was so important to them, because if they lost this, it was probably over, to be honest. Durka wins this one, sends it to 11-5. Still, it looks like an almost impossible challenge, but round by round, Boaster makes good plays, Durka gets in, gets the kills, and Loud couldn't do much. They got into a cycle of buying and then forcing and then buying and forcing, and, it just wasn't working for Loud. Eventually, the series is tied up 11-11. Fnatic then win another round before Loud bounce back in the final round, so they break the loss streak eventually to go to overtime, and then Durka goes massive in the overtime, gets a 3k on the first round with the operator, and then they win the final round as well. And unbelievable, right? Because Fnatic having, we consider Fnatic for some time the team that likes to choke in situations like this, right? And I thought maybe it was going to be happening again. It certainly looked like it did, up 2-0 in the grand finals to finally win an event as a team, to then go 2-2 and then go down 11-3 in the final map. Like, it looks like it should be over at that point, but Fnatic, they beat the allegations, they came out swinging, and it was Loud really that threw it away, to be honest. I mean, it's tough. I think it was Fnatic clutching more than Loud choking at times, but nonetheless, 11-3 final map to win in front of your home crowd. That is a bitter pill to swallow, but congratulations to the entire Fnatic team. Chronicle, I thought, especially, just because he becomes the first player to win 2 events in Valorant history. Boaster finally lifts the trophy. Durka, Alpha, yeah, I mean, Leo, like, what a phenomenal team. We expected this team to be super good, right? And I'm sure Sentinels are kind of gutted because they lost to these guys in the very first round. And look, I don't think Sentinels are the second best team in the world, but it's still pretty tough if you're Sentinels and you lost in this fashion to the team that ended up winning the tournament. And, as Durka says, finally won a trophy. Well deserved. Durka, one of the, if not the best player in the entire world right now. No surprises there. It's been the case for some time. And this also hit number 2 all time in most viewers in Valorant history for an event. I believe Champion still had the most viewers, but 1.4 million peak viewers here across Twitch and YouTube for this grand final, and for very good reason. It broke the record quite early on, at least for second place, but then obviously it kept on climbing for very good reason. So ridiculous series. The overall numbers look like this. I mean, we almost had 100 kills from less, but a player that I'm most happy for, I think, really is Boaster here, right? Because he came from being like a tier 2, tier 3 CS player, then he was doing like vlogs for G2 or whatever it was for some time, and then Valorant came out, he made a team, did well at first strike, made some good progress, finally got noticed by Fnatic, and individually, Boaster played very well. I think his mechanics as well have gone up massively recently, and not only gelling the team, but also having incredible impact frags when necessary, and just what a great series for between both these teams. 2, phenomenal teams, maybe 1-2 in the world right now. Fnatic number 1, Loud maybe number 2, and the numbers speak for themselves, and of course, fitting that it went to overtime to close out the series. And of course, what this does mean for Europe is that EMEA, they get 4 slots for Masters. It was looking so good for North America, or just the Americans in general, to get that additional Masters spot, but no, it goes to EMEA, so there will only be 3 teams from the Americas out of the 10 that get to go to Masters. There will be 4 from EMEA, which of course amongst them you would imagine will be Fnatic, but still, that's good news for EMEA to get an extra team there to go to Masters Tokyo relatively, well, it's in a few months' time actually at this point. Now, let's talk about rostermania. So, I don't expect many teams after this event to make changes, but Cloud9 are. We know that Ye has been released, unrestricted free agency is officially gone. Now, what player are they going to replace Ye with? You would imagine that if they were going to replace Ye, they've got to bring a heavy hitter in, right? They've got to change the roles around, bring someone else in for Ye. How else do you plan to upgrade the team? But apparently, that's not the case. And of course, this aligns with the story that, in fact, the role problems that they said are actually not the issue, but money is the issue, right? So I think we guessed this. It's not exactly, it doesn't take a genius to figure it out based on what they said, but, this is the situation they find themselves in. So the trials that Cloud9 are hosting to replace Ye include Rooney, from formerly of Sonics, former Moon Raccoons player Icy, former Gen.G player Sneerot, and former Virtuoso player Blast. I'm not exactly too familiar with this name. So 4 players that are, okay, notable, but these are tier 2 players at best, really, that have, okay, made their name at some point, and could be valuable assets, don't get me wrong. But if you're going to drop Ye, like, you would think that this is, especially given everyone said, oh, it's a super team, right? It's like, well, this isn't the way back to being a super team, I would imagine. And apparently Nerve has potentially stood out from formerly of Sonics as well. So it's an absolute absolute mess, right? Now, Marved was initially mentioned as one of the options here for Cloud9, but apparently the organization is going to refuse to meet his salary expectations. Marved wants X amount of money to make it worthwhile for him not streaming anymore. Cloud9 are like, no, we can't afford that type thing, which just goes to show what the true reason was of them dropping Yay, let's be honest. And apparently, Cloud9 is unwilling to pay any buyouts, so they won't be getting anyone that isn't a free agent. If they, if they have to sign someone from the guard or from another organization, it's not going to happen. They don't want to pay any buyouts. They don't want to meet Marv's salary expectations. Goes to show that the money was the reason behind making this decision with Yay. It's pretty clear based on what we see. Now, could it still happen for Marved? Could Marved say, you know what, I don't want 500 grand, I only want 200 grand. I don't know. We'll see what happens here, right? But Marved could bring his price down, or Cloud9 could bring their price up, and they could still come to a deal, because Marved said on stream that he actually might be joining a team. It's not guaranteed, and I don't imagine that he wants to join a tier 2 team. I imagine that Marved would only come back to competing if there was a tier 1 offer for him that would, and like, Cloud9 is the only realistic team that makes sense here, because what other teams in North America are making changes right now? Probably none. Maybe we'll see. But Marved kind of says, look, it might not happen, but there's a possibility that he gets back on a team, which probably is Cloud9 if they can come to a relationship.
Like, I'm not gonna lie. Can you leak where you and Ye are going? I might join a team, chat. Let's just say that. Maybe. If all strings pull through, I might be on a team.
So absolute madness, honestly, over the last couple of days. Very much intrigued your thoughts on all this rostermania stuff, but also Wingman, Gekko, and just that result in the lock-in event last night. And of course, it's not too long from today where the actual regular split starts up, and we're going to see this Cloud9 team in action more often against some of the other top competition. But very much intrigued your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.